this time, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Don Campbell, who is our keynote speaker for today. Many of you know Don, but for those of you who don't, I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes and share with you some of his background and to let you know why it's so important to us to have him here today. Don is the author of top 4 Canada real estate books in history. Those books are shown here. His team is outside today as well and has these books there if you're interested in them. And the proceeds from these books, the royalties, are all being donated to Habitat for Humanity. And to date, that has been over $600,000. So thank you very much. Now, Don is not a realtor, nor does he profit whether you buy or sell property. He's the president of the Real Estate Investment Network with members across Canada. They are the longest running and most successful real estate educational network. And we're very delighted to be able to tell you, and this is a number that the first time I heard it, I was really surprised by. The Real Estate Investment Network members have over $3.2 billion in property that they have purchased in Canada. So it's very, very significant. He is the unbiased go-to for media, and we'll try not to comment about the many varying hairstyles that Mr. Campbell presents, but you may have seen him or heard him speak, and I've heard him on radio, and he's often in print as well. But when Don speaks, people pay attention, and we're very happy that he's here to speak about Maple Ridge. And without further ado, Mr. Don Campbell.
Thank you, Sandy. Hello, everybody. Thanks for the hairstyle comment. That's a great way to open, you know, professional, ready to go. It's a pleasure, Mayor Daykin, Sandy Blue, the council, etc., of Maple Ridge and Pitt Meadows. Thank you so very much for having me here, and especially thank you for you guys coming out, because it's not often I get a chance to speak in a public forum. I'm often just speaking to our members across the country, and some of the questions that you've come up with so far already today have been fantastic. So our job, myself and my research team, our job is to be here for you, to answer questions, and to make sure that you leave here with some sort of reality of what's going on in Maple Ridge. Because, really, how often I hear this. I hear this so often. Every time I'm speaking to somebody who's in the real estate game, you know, I'm a big commercial guy or whatever it is, you talk to them and say, well, you know, Maple Ridge is the place you got to be looking at. And that's the look. That's the question I get. This is the kind of stuff that comes up. You can't get there. I said, well, have you been there recently? No, I haven't been there forever, because you just can't get there. Or, you know, it's the middle of nowhere. I'm sure many of you have heard it. Or it just takes too long to get there because you've got to go through this and then that, and either through Mission or you've got to go in that. Have you been on that bridge? You know, when the Pitt River Bridge opens up and you can't get across, I'm going, wow, which century are you living in? And that's what happens. There's nothing. There's nothing there. That was before any redevelopment that occurred here, obviously. You've got, it's a low-income town. I said, really? Do you guys know the facts? Do you know that your average income in Maple Ridge is $10,000 higher per capita than the British Columbia average? The biggest problem that Maple Ridge has, the biggest enemy, is perception. The perception that, that the world has, you know, especially the majority of the people have, around Maple Ridge. But the good news is the best advantage that you have is perception, because the opportunities for you, because you'll know what's coming, you'll be able to see 3 to 5 years down the road, is that you can hope that those people keep that perception while you know, watch your Maple Ridge grow and watch it and be a part of it, be an active part of it. This is the this is the great bit about being in a city the size, or a region the size of Pitt, Meadows, and Maple Ridge, is that you can have an impact. You can walk up to Mayor Daykin and say, you know what, I ain't happy with this, and have an impact. You go up to the mayors of some of the larger centers, and they'll go, yes, that's great. My executive assistant, third one down, and the da-da-da-da-da down here can deal with you. Here, obviously, Mayor Daykin is going to be taking your call and actually talking to you. That's what the greatness about Maple Ridge. Now, there's many developers in here. There's commercial and there's residential. That's the same thing that you have access to. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit. So I'm an outsider. You know, my very first investment property was in the 80s. Perm and all that stuff. Thanks for the hair comment, by the way. Was in Mission, British Columbia. Mission, British Columbia, on Eider Street in Mission, British Columbia. That was a long time ago. And I've been investing since then. And I don't sell real estate. I don't care whether you buy real estate or not. My job is to analyze the markets and then tell you from an outsider's perspective what your city has the potential of. Now, understand, I don't care about the politics. I don't care that whether you love the bridge or hate the bridge. My job is just to kind of peel that onion and get to the facts. You could still have your emotions around it, but I'm just going to lay out some of the facts and the opportunities that are in the Maple Ridge region. And P.S., I just want to be very, very clear. Very clear. I am not for sale. And they are not paying me to be here. As a matter of fact, I am here, and we have our members thing tonight. I'm here because I am proud to deal with the city of Maple Ridge, or the region of Maple Ridge, and Pitt Meadows, as should you be. Especially if you've lived here a long time. I used to work, here's one for you, I used to work on Dewdney Trunk Road, and okay, now I'm going to really, I'm going to eliminate 50% of the audience because of the age here, but I used to work at that Sears discount store in Maple Ridge. Remember that clearance center? Yeah, I was the one who gave you the couch for $5. Remember that? Remember that. So what I do is I go across the country, and for our members, I have a great research team. And what we do is we analyze cities' potential. We do not care what it's done in the past. We don't even care what it's doing today. What our job is to identify regions that have potential for the next 5, 7, 10 years. Because that's what residential and commercial real estate investors and homeowners need to start looking out. Because here's the fact, is that there are on average, 1.8 housing reports that are released every single week in Canada. So I don't know how you release 8.8 of a report, but let's forget that. But 1.8 reports. So you can sit and obsess about the housing market or the commercial market over and over and over and over again because it makes great headlines. But really, if you're looking at housing market numbers to decide what's coming, is you're looking in the rearview mirror. You're never going to see what's coming. Housing starts are up, housing starts are down. Who cares? And I've been doing this for a long time. This is our 18th year. REIN's been operating for 18 years. I don't care. I look at the numbers, I kind of say, okay, well, that's good. I mean, that's interesting. But we're going to get into some of the economic fundamentals that really matter to Maple Ridge and to you, no matter where you're investing. Mortgage interest rates obviously play a role. Average incomes. $10,000 more, well, I think it's $9,800 and something more over the British Columbia average. Population growth. Has anybody noticed the traffic recently? Is it getting better or is it getting worse? Help me out. This is interactive. This is not TV. It's getting worse. There's more traffic. The population is growing. That's always a great indicator. You've got the real estate Doppler effect. So if you've got a boom that's going on in Coquitlam and it's getting too expensive, people are going to move out further and further. This is not going to happen tomorrow. This is going to happen in the next 5 years. But let's get to the two that I'm going to focus on today. Transportation expansion and job growth and demand. If you have those two, if you're totally bored with economics and you just want to study two of them about your region and what the value of your house is going to be in 5 years, look not at real estate. Look at job growth and transportation changes. And if you do that, you'll look like a genius. You'll be able to predict the future. I'm not, I don't profess to be a psychic or a soothsayer. All I do is I look at the numbers and I kind of go, okay, This is what's happening. This is what's happened in history when this has happened. This is what's going to occur in Maple Ridge. So distance is not measured in kilometers anymore. Everybody, when you ask them how far away from work is it, they say, about 20 minutes. Nobody cares how many kilometers it is, generally. They want to know it's all about time. So whenever you open up an artery, like we did with the Pitt River Bridge, and especially got rid of the, unfortunately, because I love the history of the Albion Ferry, but and moved it onto the bridge where you're not waiting in line. As soon as you open that up, regions become mentally and physically closer to other job centers. It's not about actually physically picking up Maple Ridge and moving it closer to Vancouver or moving it closer to the access to Surrey and the airport. Hey, how cool is this? Now you can get to the airport, Vancouver Airport. Remember trying to get to the airport from Maple Ridge some days? Just terrible. Now you can actually get there through the Golden Ears, which is now called, by the way, and I would write this down, the new bridge is not called the Golden Ears, it's called the Corn Bridge. The Corn Bridge. Figure it out. Golden Ears, ears of corn, Corn Bridge. There you go. Thank you. So I hear that you can't get there from here. So what I say to these people is quite clearly, have you not noticed anything else that's gone on? You've got the Pitt River Bridge. I think that has had as much of an impact as the Golden Ears Bridge. The Golden Ears Bridge is going to have an impact 5 years from now. And didn't you notice when they opened up, the bridge opened up, and all the TV cameras were there a week later saying, there's nobody on this bridge, what a big waste of money. Happens every time you open a new bridge. Because giant bridges like that, and people aren't used to commuting north-south there. So what happens, of course, is that people discover it. People start to, and then people talk about it. And then 5 years from now, that bridge is going to be crazy. And that's good news for anybody who's building or developing or investing or owning in the Maple Ridge region. Pitt River Bridge, instant access, instant opening of the artery from that Coquitlam through. Big, big difference. That was an immediate response. Of course, the Golden Ears, we've all seen it, we've all driven over it. And the South Fraser Perimeter Road is going to have an impact on you as well. The South Fraser Perimeter Road is going to be built along the South Fraser, obviously, and it's going to be, and it's going to take a while to do. But you know what's going to happen is that corporations, manufacturers, and distributors will now be able to locate in Maple Ridge and the region of, and the whole region around Maple Ridge. You know, you're talking about the Albion Flats area and that whole discussion that's going on. You know, you've got a huge opportunity with that piece of land. I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but you have a very, very big opportunity with what to do with that land. Because what will happen is now they can get to the port. Now they can get around the lower mainland. Right now, if I'm going to manufacture, I'm going to hire 150 people to manufacture something, what's going to happen is I can't really place it in Maple Ridge. I can a little bit better now that the bridge is here, but I still, okay, now I get to Highway 1, now what do? Sit to wait to go where? So you understand, it's now you're talking about time again, where manufacturers are manufacturing and shipping stuff out. If they can't get their trucks to move, if they can't get them going, they can't move there. So now that's why Surrey is doing so well with attracting new manufacturing and new employment. Once that perimeter road opens up, huge opportunity here for Maple Ridge. That's going to expand this, and I don't like to use the word boom because that follows by bust, but really this coming wave that's coming to Maple Ridge, that's why you're going to see it not 5 years, but 10 years. And that's why this whole gateway, although you may have a political feel on that as well, this whole gateway thing is, I think it was done purely to help Maple Ridge. And you know why? Because it used to be one of the toughest places to get to. You couldn't get there. It was literally impossible. So people just said, nah, forget it. I'm not going there. You've got property values that are lower, on average, than the lower mainland. That is good. That's not bad. That is a good thing. Because it sets you up for a very nice run that's coming up. And it'll be quicker, not quicker, I don't like to use quicker, it'll be more solid than in other areas in the lower mainland and the Fraser Valley.